Hi, welcome to the community's new contributor orientation. Okay, before we start, I have a few housekeeping items to share. So first, as you heard, this meeting is recorded and it will be published on YouTube. Like all the meetings in the CNCF, this meeting has a code of conduct. There is a link to this code of conduct below in this slide. But basically, it sums up to be respectful of the speaker and all the attendees and be excellent to each other. You can use the chat to ask any questions and have discussions during this call. And at the end, that's the most important part, there will be a Q&A section where you can ask any questions. And I encourage you to ask them verbally, or I'm going to read them so that people who will watch this video later can follow the questions. And these slides can be found on GitHub. You have the link to the repo also. And please note that those are published as PDF. So if you watch the PDF on GitHub, the links are not clickable. But if you download it and open the PDF, then you can click the links. All right. So, hi, my name is Matthias. I've been in the Kubernetes project for 9 years. I'm a SIG node reviewer, a maintainer of Pro and other CNCF projects. And I will be giving the main presentation and, most important, share my experience during the answers that hopefully I can give to your questions. Okay, so the purpose of this meeting is to orient you in the Kubernetes community. It means giving you a sense on how the community works and what your part could be inside it. So I will start off with a presentation to show the structure of the community and about contributions and everything. And at the end, the question and answers. So let's dive in. So the Kubernetes community is a very big group of people who work together to create and maintain the Kubernetes project. To give you some numbers, so those are quite old now, but in November 2024, we had like 94,000 contributors who made 4 million contributions to the project. And all these contributions are only reviewed by a little bit less than 8,000 people. So later on, I will explain what is a contribution, what is a reviewer, so that you can understand. But before we dive deeper in the community, some of you may be unfamiliar with the Kubernetes project. So I'm going to explain quickly what it is. So Kubernetes is an open source container orchestration tool. It is open source. It means that it's made by people. Let me just. Oh, it's okay. Everybody is muted. It's made by people around the world, and some of them to do it, but most of them are like just doing it for free. So they are volunteers. Also, the code of the Kubernetes software is publicly available under an open source license. And this license explains who, when, and how the software and its source code can be used. Okay, and what it does is that the Kubernetes is orchestrating containers. So let's take an example. So businesses have many applications that they need to run. They could have a payroll application, a logistics application, or a company website. Those applications need to run somewhere. So businesses also have a lot of computers to run those applications on. And sorry, D, what do you mean? You cannot hear? I am not audible. Whatever, let's continue. So with Kubernetes, the business can say, hey, Kubernetes, I have some computers, I have some apps, and I want you to run those apps on those computers. And you can describe various levels of details about what the application needs to run, what sort of hardware it needs, and then Kubernetes will find a machine for you and make sure that it runs. It can also provide some handy functionalities for managing the applications while it's running. So, for example, it can help you update the applications to a new version without downtime. Yeah, things like this. And all this magic is done by the Kubernetes contributors. And we are working on improving and maintaining these every day. So let's see how the contributors are building Kubernetes by exploring the community structure. So Kubernetes is an open source project within the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, the CNCF. And the CNCF is a non-profit organization with the stated mission to make cloud native ubiquitous. So in order to do that, they support many open source projects that enable companies to run applications in the cloud. So the CNCF provides guidance and support to the projects, which include legal support, codes of conduct, graphical design for logos, copyright, probably lawyers as well, and some financials. So the pyramid below the CNCF is the structure of the Kubernetes community. So at the very top, interfacing with the CNCF and presiding over various topics is the steering committee. So this is a body of 7 members who are elected by Kubernetes org members. I will explain shortly after what is being an org member. So below that, with a project that is so large, with so many different concepts, we need to specialize. So there are some folks that have some unique skills and knowledge. For example, the Kubernetes nodes. This is where the workloads are run. That's one area of expertise. Or, for example, maintaining the docs and writing them is another expertise. So people who work on specific areas of the project, they are grouped together in what we called special interest groups, or SIGs. So these groups break down the work of building and maintaining the Kubernetes project into sensible chunks. And sometimes there are some big areas that need attentions that are like very significant and that they cut across different SIGs. So we could decide to create working groups. So a working group is something that is created temporarily to address a specific issue and then is meant to disappear as soon as the work is done, and that the various SIGs that participated into this working group are taking over the work. And sometimes also the working groups can become a SIG in itself. So it happened in the past. And then within each SIGs, because some SIGs can be very broad in scope, they can be broken down into sub-projects. So currently, there are 24 interest groups, 7 working groups, and 3 committees in the Kubernetes community. Now, if we look at the different groups, there are some groups that can operate at a project level, and which means that what they work on, all the project depends on them. There are some groups that are what we call horizontal, so they have a technical focus that is deep and broad, and they own some core functionalities from an architecture perspective. And then there are some vertical groups. So they have a deep and very specific technical focus. And the vertical groups depend on the work of the horizontal groups. And as I said, the horizontal and the vertical groups depend on the project group. So let's take a few examples from the current community structure. So for example, SIG release and SIG docs, there are some project scope groups. Now, if you go to SIG API machinery or SIG authentication, these are called horizontal groups because any vertical group depends on authentication or API. And then in the vertical groups, well, you will find some familiar concepts like autoscaling or scheduling, networking, and Node, where I'm a member of. So as you are exploring groups to contribute in the community, you might want to refer back to this diagram. And thank you, Dimitri. The slides, they are updated, especially those with the work in progress where we need help. They are updated, but the numbers, we need to pull them from the tool. I will explain later how we can do that. And actually, I will update the numbers. Thank you for your remark. Okay. So now that you know how the community is structured, let's see why you might want to contribute. So in fact, there are many reasons why people contribute to the Kubernetes community. So for some who are paid for it, that's easy. Their job require contributions. And there are also some contributors who work with the community just on a volunteer basis. And then there are some people that are somehow in the middle, like for their work, they need to contribute sometimes, but they enjoy contributing. So they also do extra work for the community outside of their job. So you might be wondering, like, why so many people contribute without getting paid? Well, for example, they might want to grow specific skills for their resume, or they might want to meet people working in the industry. Or maybe they just think the technology is cool and they want to dive deeper in it. Or just like sometimes some people like being part of a community of people and working towards similar goals and solving great problems. So there are many reasons to contribute, but the more important is to find why you want to contribute. And usually when you are working with other people, if you can clearly define what your goals are, they can better understand what you want and they can give you some help and some examples on what you can do. Okay, thank you, Lucas and Del, for your messages. Yes. Okay, yeah. So as I said, yeah, if you can explain this clearly to people, they can more easily help you to find work opportunities and connections that will help with your goals. But now, regardless of why you are interested in contributing, you are probably wondering what is a contributor. So in order to define what a contributor is, let's look at what is a contribution. So any work you do to support the Kubernetes project is a welcome and valued contribution to the community. So that's very broad and vague, but that's important. There are contributors can do a lot of different work that does not involve writing code or making pull requests. So let's give some examples. Did some of you join already the Kubernetes new contributor channel in the Kubernetes Slack? So if you did and just wrote a message there, this is considered as a contribution. Or if you ever commented on an issue or to to a proposal, this is also a contribution. And even just like attending this meeting or watching a recording of this meeting is also a contribution. So thank you for contributing today. As a community, we try our best to acknowledge and appreciate contributions in many forms. So now that you know what a contribution is, what is a contributor? So in order to define the contributors, we have what we call the contributor ladder. So if you remember, at some point we talked about reviewers. So we will explain now what it means. So starting at the bottom, as I said, anyone can be a contributor. So if you do any of the things that we mentioned in the previous slide, you are already a contributor. If you contribute to the community in any way, then you might be what we called a non-member contributor. This means that you pop into the community and contribute, and likely in small and disconnected ways. But if you want to get involved really in the community, you might want to go for the org membership. So an org member is a member of the Kubernetes organization on GitHub. So being an org member gives you higher privileges to interact with the tools that we use in our work, like the Probot in GitHub. Also, having org membership is a sign that you are an active and engaged contributor who intends to contribute in structured ways within the community. It means that you are not just coming, picking up a single issue, or asking a one-off question. So you are probably developing expertise in certain area of the project. And you might be contributing to one or more sub-projects or SIGs in measurable ways. Active contributors for taking. Okay, how does it work? So if you want to become an org member, so you have to have at least 4 or 5 merge PRs, and you have to open for a contributor issue, and you have to find sponsors. So you need like 2 people who already have the org membership and that work with you, and that could assess that you did some work for the community. And then the PR gets merged, and then you become a contributor. So how to contribute with blog post? Okay, thank you. So I think there is on the website, on the Kubernetes website repository, there is a way of writing blog posts. But probably the better way of doing it is to reach out on Slack. You can probably reach out to the Contribex channel and ask if you can write a blog post. We are also looking at some testimonials, like people who are using Kubernetes and want to share how they are doing it, or things like this. So Lucas, yeah, I'm gonna come like later to the SIGs and how to find the right SIG. And triage and bug fixes. Yeah, I will explain this later. So let's continue with the ladder and then let's do it. So once you are an org member, you can continue to be more engaged. And if you start reviewing work, you can ask to become a reviewer, which means that when people open PRs, you will get automatic notifications from GitHub in order to review the work and give a looks good to me comment, for example. Then eventually, if you've been a reviewer for quite some time and you might be trusted enough to have the final say in some PRs, or either for the code or displayed on the Kubernetes IO website. Then you can become an approver, but there are like very little approvers compared to the number of contributors. And then if you are becoming like a strong expert in a specific area, you might become the person that others come with questions, and you might lead some triage sessions. For example, Lucas was what you were suggesting, or other work in an area. And at that point, you will be considered a sub-project owner. Then, of course, the next level is to become a sub-project lead. So the sub-project lead is the person who triage all the requests from other parts of the project. And he is responsible for the README file defining the sub-project, which includes the chart, the values, how the work is done, and yeah, like this. And finally, there are the SIG chairs and the tech leads. So if you remember, yeah, so I will explain later what a chair or a tech lead is for a SIG, but it depends on the SIGs about what they do. And if you remember the community diagram with the pyramid, sorry, clarify where shadows sit in this ladder. Or is it separation? What do you mean, like shadows, Davide? Shadows like when you want to do a shadow for a Kubernetes release, for example? Okay. So yeah, it's a separate things, but to become a shadow, you have to be an org member for sure. And then you have to have connections with people in the SIG release. So you have to be member of the SIG release and then apply for, there was actually like an email a few weeks ago, like for applications for being a shadow release. So yeah, but it's different from this contributor ladder. You don't require to be approver or reviewer to be a shadow for the release. So to come back to here, you remember with the pyramid, on the top of the pyramid, there was also the steering committee. So you might think that the steering committee is above a SIG chair or a tech lead in this ladder, but in fact not. Like anybody who is steering committee is an elected position. So anybody who is member of the Kubernetes org can register for being elected to the steering committee, but it will only work if lots of people know you and you can understand what you brought to the community in order to become a steering committee member. But it's not any technical, it's not related to the technical ladder. Okay. And also, I would like to say that if you are a member of the ladder, if you are at one step in the ladder for one SIG, it doesn't mean that you should not participate in other SIGs. So you could be a reviewer for SIG-Node, you could be an approver for SIG testing. I mean, there is like only, every person is unique, and the way that you want to contribute is your way. So I mean, there is no strict rules, and actually we encourage people to look around and to find the best SIG to contribute. So now, oh, hello Lucien. Well, Lucien, if the other sponsor does not respond to your sponsorship request, well, maybe you haven't got in touch enough with him, or I don't know on which SIG is it, and how many contributions did you do? Maybe you should show up to these SIG meetings, try to discuss with other people and see if you can find other sponsors. Because if it comes out of the blue and people don't know you, they will probably not want to sponsor you if it comes out of nowhere. So maybe it has been about a month since I asked him. And still hasn't replied. Okay, but there is no real rule, or maybe this person is very busy, or I would suggest try to go to the SIG meeting and talk to other people. Maybe the SIG lead will recognize your work and be a sponsor instead of this person. Just try. Okay. So let's continue. So what do you mean, Dimitri? Sessions of what? You mean the SIG meetings? Yeah, you are free to attend them. I'm going to I'm going to explain. Yes. So how to start contributing? So how do we suggest that you start contributing? So the fastest way to learn and make yourself useful is to find a SIG and choosing the right SIG to your interest, and then start getting involved there. So it means that you should not go to GitHub, try to find an issue and write some code. We think that it's better that you start attending meetings or start reading the notes or watching the recordings of these meetings and starting making connections with people. Because if you just start writing code or ask questions, if people don't know you, it will be more difficult for them to reply to you. Some people are really shy, or some people are just like super busy. So getting to know them, it's always easier if you want to start working with them. So choose a SIG. I will show later how to learn about SIGs. And there is another thing that you should do is to join the Slack by following this link, and also joining the Kubernetes Developer Google group. That's a mailing list where you will receive announcement about the Kubernetes community. So how to find which SIG suits you? So go to the Kubernetes/community repo on GitHub. And in there, each SIG has each SIG and working group has its own folder. And then when you click on one folder, well, you will see inside the README. So at the top of this file, there is a summary of what the SIG is doing, and also a link of the team charter, as I said before. So it gives you a high-level idea about, thank you, Wendy, about what the SIG is doing. And then below the summary, you find the information about the group meetings. So as I said before, attending meetings is a great way to learn about who is in the group, what they are working on, and how they do their work. Because some SIGs do a lot of work on coordination in the meeting. Other SIGs, they do it asynchronously in the Slack channel. So it really depends. Paste all the links in the chat. It's a bit difficult by doing the presentation at the same time, but yeah, maybe Wendy, if you can. So yeah, and making connections is very important, as I said. So during those meetings, usually you start making connections. You will also find information about the SIG leadership. So as I said, there is SIG chairs and technical leads. So as you saw, they are basically on the same level in the ladder, but they have different types of tasks. So usually SIG chairs, they do more project management work, and tech leads, they do architectural leadership, like managing repos, taking technical decisions, and some processes. But each SIG is different. So you really have to read the charter in order to understand. And you will also find contact information for the SIG. As I said, some SIGs, they do a lot of asynchronous communication. So inside the Slack channel. So again, register yourself in the Slack and join those channels. It's very interesting. Also, each SIG has a mailing list where they send the announcements. And if you join the mailing list, you will get an invite for the SIG meetings so that you will not forget them in your calendar. Yes, Kiran, thank you very much. That's a good tip. Do contributions in work groups count for the ladder? Yes, exactly, Davide. I mean, the work you do in a work group is somehow related to one or more SIGs. So, and then if you do a lot of work for a SIG, then people will recognize your work and will propose or will accept that you want to take more responsibility and then give you a higher privilege. Yes. So yeah, so once you join the mailing list for the SIG, you will get a Google Calendar invite for their meetings. Yes, you can join more than one SIG. And actually, as you are starting, joining a SIG doesn't mean anything. There is not a list of members for each SIG. There are some people who join the Slack channel, and there are people who join the SIG Zoom meetings, but it's not, yeah, there is not a single list of SIG members. But inside the repos or inside the SIGs, there is a list of reviewers and there is a list of approvers. But this is like once you grow higher in the ladder. Also, there you will find informations where you can find PRs related to that SIG, or if they have a GitHub team or a project board or things like this. And as I said, you should join the Kubernetes Dev Google group because you get notifications about the community in general. Okay. There is also another tool called k8s.dev. And if you go to the /calendar page, you see all the SIG meetings in an array like this. And this will help you pick also which SIG has meetings that is compatible with your agenda. Because we are in the EMEA zone here, and most of the SIGs, they have meetings in the US time zone. So finding SIGs with meetings that are compatible with your life is important because you will likely join them every week or every second week. So that's also a factor. Okay. I will try to show you some work opportunities, and then we will move to the Q&A session because we spent already a lot of time in here. So I encourage you to download the slides. So there are some evergreen opportunities. That means that's opportunities where we always need people, but we have some new opportunities in etcd, I think. So I want to focus on them. So more evergreen opportunities. Then, okay, this one. So yes, in etcd, they are looking for some help. So you have like all the information on the etcd SIG. And I think they are listing, no, that's the only one in etcd. Yes, so for example, they want to localize in Ukrainian and things like this. Yeah, SIG UI. So headlamp, I don't know if some of you already use the headlamp. It's very cool. Like many other CNCF projects have like plugins for headlamp. So very cool. You could help them. Gateway API. Oh yes. So they list some good first issues here. Very interesting. SIG API machinery. Okay, very cool. This one, it's also new. Yes, very cool. So please check those. Sometimes, as you see, they say that you need proficiency in some areas, for example, Kubernetes and Golang here, but some other tasks are just like localization. So it really depends on how you want to help. There are other call for helps here for the contribex with specific skills. So this is important when there are some tasks like this with very specific skills. Go there and help them if you have these skills. Don't try to pick those issues if you want to learn the skill, because if people are requesting help, it probably means that one, they don't have the skill, or if they have the skill, they don't have time to look into it. So they probably don't have time to teach you this skill. So that's also important when you choose a task that you feel comfortable working on it on your own. Okay, SIG docs. Yeah, for example, SIG docs, like you can always help with localization. Yay, etcd. Thank you, Wendy. SIG testing. Actually, I'm an approver in Pro, so that's right. We need people that want to help with Pro, but the project is a bit difficult, so you have to really know it before you join. SIG network for the gateway API, of course. Cool. I will skip this one because. Okay. So today we had a lot of information, and this was just the orientation meeting. When you join your first SIG meeting, it's gonna be the same. You're going to be overwhelmed, because you have to understand that SIG meetings are for people that are like active and contributing regularly. So the first time you go there, you will see people speaking about things that you don't know. Maybe they will not have time to answer your questions. So be patient. Go there, listen to them, show that you are here. Maybe at the end, spend like few minutes chatting with them if it's possible. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And if people start to see you more often, it will be easier for them to let you participate and to involve you. And anyway, the goal is to have more contributors, so don't be shy. And then, yeah. The Kubernetes community is a big, diverse place. You will different peoples, different skills, technologies. So it it will probably take a lot of time until you find the place that clicks with you, but try to stick, find a particular area where you want to dive deep. And yeah, regardless of which area you explore, we need your help and we are glad you are here to help us. So I will leave this slide here and now we can move to the questions. Anyone? I know we had a lot of questions already in the chat, but maybe someone wants to speak or to share their experience. Okay, so just
I have a hello.
as I
Good
said,
morning.
sorry.
Good morning. Sorry, couldn't find the raise hands button, so I just
Okay, yeah, just
unmuted.
speak. Hello.
I have a question. Do we? So you showed us some of the new tickets that or and the SIG groups that need some help. Is
Yes.
there a place where these things get updated frequently? So that, for example, if I go to a specific SIG and I contribute, but for example, maybe I didn't like it or it was not an interesting and I want to go to another thing, is there a place where all the new things that are good first issues are gathered, or do I have to go to the specific SIGs and find out?
So usually when SIGs need help, they come to reach Contribex and add these slides to the
Mhm.
presentation. So that's usually the best way of finding them, because there is no. I don't think there is a central place where all the SIGs can post their help needed work. So usually we also come to them like every month and say, hey, do you have something where you need people? So I think this slide deck is probably the most accurate representation
Mhm.
today. But you
Okay.
can also try to find the SIG that is on an area that you are interested in and that
Mhm.
has like compatible meetings with you, and just try to reach on Slack to them and see if they need help in particular. Yes, we
Okay. Thank you.
published it. Okay, yeah. So Kavita, do you publish links to session related slides somewhere in the Kubernetes community GitHub? Yes. Actually, it was on one of the first slides, I think. Yeah, here. The new contributor orientation repo on GitHub in Kubernetes community. Yes, thank you, Wendy. Other questions? I'm a student. Alors, hey there. I'm a student and completely a beginner, very confused on how to contribute. Can you please guide me? I have joined that C groups, but still confused whether I can fulfill the expectation or not. So first of all, there is no real expectation, right? It's if you want to help, people will find ways for you to contribute. So, which SIG did you join? SIG etcd. Okay, so since probably Wendy can jump in.
Yeah. Um, I think you can join the ETCD channel because I'm not really sure about like what's the issue or the BR that you try to triage or try to have at the moment. But in the ETCD channel, we have or lots of like maintainer and contributor, they can guide you into the relevant documentation that like you can learn about how to start contribute and also learn about etcd as well. So yeah, feel free to join SIG etcd channel in Kubernetes if you need any help. Or you can ping me on Kubernetes Slack as well. So my Slack is similar with my name, Wendy Ha. Hope it have.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Wendy. It is very much beneficial for me.
Yeah, no worry. My pleasure.
So there was another question that I interrupted, sorry.
I think that is from me. It is just a follow-up question related to NCO slides. I have seen this location previously, and the last time I have actually checked, I checked now also. Last time the repository was updated was 4 months ago, and the NCO-slides directory doesn't have updated slides. So that's why I was asking like whether there is any other place where we can get the updated slides with the the current call for helps so that
Oh,
we can,
okay,
yeah.
I understand. Okay, I will make sure that the slide is updated. Like today we have a Google Drive, but it's not, I don't think it's public where we have the updated slides. I will make
Mhm.
sure that the slide is updated after the other session today, after the AMER session.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Because this was the second time I am attending the NCO. I think 2 months
Oh,
ago
okay.
I attended, so that's why. Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Kavita.
yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
There is a question from Krishu. What's the criteria for LFX mentorship? I don't think it's related to Contribex, but there is an LFX mentorship channel in the CNCF Slack. So it's not the Kubernetes Slack, it's the main CNCF Slack. And in there, you can probably ask questions about LFX mentorship. I think Google Summer of Code as well. I also have a CNCF project where I'm a maintainer, Kubescape, and we had the LFX mentor. So I know it's working. I know. So yeah, try to join the CNCF Slack and find the LFX channel. Cool. Any more questions? So Davide, any advice on how to find issues to contribute? So I think the easiest issue to contribute is issues that you personally have because it gives you the motivation to go through. And as I said, the most important is making relationships and connections with people, because if you just send a PR and don't speak to anyone, don't expect anybody to have a look at your code unless it's very specific and there is like a high priority bug there. Because there are probably 1% of all the contributors that are reviewers. So we get lots of PRs to review, and we tend to review PRs from people that we know, or at least that we know that will take the PR to completion. Because sometimes yeah. Sometimes it's not just like you write code and you merge immediately. There is a lot of back and forth, making sure that the CI path, that all the tests are passing. Then you have some small needs to change, and back and forth. So like merging a pull request can take weeks, and some people get annoyed by this, and then they leave. And what happens is that in the GitHub we see like lots of issues that have some PRs open for it, and people just like let them open, and we have a lot of cleanup to do. We have to take the issue back to the triage, making sure that it's still relevant, and so this is probably why people don't respond to you if they don't know you, because yeah, it's easier when you have started already a relationship with them. That's also a good point, Dimitri. Find to-dos in code, for example, or find issue that someone was already tracked. Yes. So, Chris, should I just tag the maintainer in the general chat or Slack or review the PR? But Pro already makes sure that you have some reviewers assigned to your PR. So they know already they have something to review. There is also a specific Slack channel called PR review, I think, where you can ask for more people to look on a PR. But as I said, joining the community meeting and asking for a review, if nothing has moved for months, is probably worth trying. Because I mean, just tagging someone on Slack, I don't think it's going to change much. But I know it's frustrating. Sometimes it takes weeks for a PR to land. And I'm not even talking about PRs that require an enhancement proposal. Like this takes 6 months. Other questions? Okay, well, I'm gonna. Okay. If you have no experience at all with Kubernetes but have some technical skills, you might be better off being a release shadow. Yes, but probably if you come out of nowhere and want to be a release shadow, I'm not sure that the release team will like consider you. But you can try. You can try. Or if you know them from another project, maybe.
I have a question which is related to the release shadow. I don't know when exactly it was, but recently I saw a message being passed to that you have to actually fill in a Google form to become a release shadow. Um, how often do we actually consider, new people joining as release shadows in a year?
So there are like 3 releases per year. Yes, once a quarter. Okay, 4 releases per year. So, and Davide, as I understood, you need to be a member of for being eligible to be a shadow. I'm not sure. I think probably because it doesn't make sense if you don't even have access to Pro or other tools. I don't see what you can do being a shadow release, really. But maybe this is something I will ask and post the answer in the Contribex Slack if you want, Davide.
So for the release team, you can actually join even if you've not been a contributor. You're going to be sponsored by whoever the team lead is if your application is good enough and accepted. However, you need to have some experience doing something somewhere, whether it's at work, in the community, you need to bring some value to the release team to be able to be accepted. So typically, people who have been there in the community have higher chances of being accepted. However, there have been cases where people who have not been in the community at all, but were able to share the kind of value that they would bring to the release team. I've seen cases where those kind of people were accepted as well. So you can try your luck.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
useful.
Cool. One last question, or we close the meeting? All right. Well, thank you very much for your questions. Thank you for everybody who jumped in to help me answer questions. And I hope to see you in the Contribex chat or in any other SIG meeting. Thank you very much. Have a good day.